My name is Stefan Knutsson, and I'm an analyst here at ABG. And by that, I would like to present Prevas and their CEO, Johan Strid. Welcome.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I'm Johan Strid. I'm the CEO of Prevas. I will present Prevas, obviously, but since I'm fairly new at the company, I thought it might be polite to present myself a little bit first. So this is me. I'm a master in science in electrical engineering, and in parallel with the studies I worked at Televerket, so I have revealed roughly my age. My first real job was at Ericsson as a project manager and product manager, and as such I bought consultants and projects from consultancy firms, so it was a good experience being on the buying side. And in the late 90s, I shifted to the consultancy side at Sigma as a salesperson. Then I didn't change jobs for 12 years, but Sigma was divided. I belonged to Teleca. That was divided. I followed the AU system part, and that was bought by Cybercom Group. And I've been a consultant manager, managing director for some subsidiaries, business area manager, and at Cybercom I was the sales director. And in 2011 I changed to Knowit in the southern part of Sweden, in Skåne. My task there was to change from loss to profit and change the market position a little bit. And we were lucky. We went from being the black sheep in the group to being the best performing region. And after that, I became the business area manager for Knowit Solutions, about 1,200 employees in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Finland. And last year, I changed to Prevas. And I don't know if it's a coincidence, but as you can see, Prevas is on top of the food chain here. And there is almost no room left in the upper right corner. Could be interesting to know that during working at Prevas, I bought roughly 1.4% of the company. Prevas, some brief facts first. We're a consultancy firm. We're providing consultants and projects and solutions. We've been around for a long time, since '85, so it's almost 35 years. About 550 employees, mostly in Sweden, Denmark and Norway as well. We're certified. 9001 is not much to talk about, but the other one, 13485, is about medical devices. And I think many of our competitors don't have that certificate. It means that we have climbed a threshold, so working a lot with life science, medical devices, instruments, and so on. So we have a lot of experiences and certifications to do that. We are quite experienced. Our employees are very experienced, and about 5% has a postgraduate as well. And we're noted on the Stockholm Exchange Market. We're working a lot with product development, design, development, industrialization, and maintenance and the next cycle again, and so on. And here are some examples. We're working with the Hövding, the inflatable helmet. We're doing the mechanics and the electrical stuff inside that helmet. And they are releasing a new helmet in just a few weeks, and we have done a lot of the things inside the helmet. Also reducing the cost for production so they can make money on the helmet. Hone, they are developing ovens for restaurants, and we're doing some sensors in that, but that's not the main part. The main part is that we're connecting the ovens to the cloud, so Hone can monitor all their ovens at the restaurant, so they understand how their customers are using their products, and if they need more maintenance, they can buy maintenance by using a mobile app, for example. I need a new filter to my oven, and then Hone got all the aftermarket. This is a medical device, and we're working with wind as well. The other big area for us is working for Scandinavian industry with digitalization. Outokumpu, they're making stainless steel, and we're doing the it's called the cells. So it's a different robots in a factory. For example, we're doing the implementation of the robots, and this is a camera system monitoring the precise production of the steel. And in some cases, we can reduce the energy use with a few percent, which is a lot in the stainless steel industry. We also understand how the factories are handling the whole process, going from different robots to the next robot, to the next robot, and so on. And we're steering the whole factories with execution systems as well. We have done the first cobot in Sweden. It's a robot that collaborates with other robots. So we're doing the robots in different cells, and mostly human beings are monitoring them, changing some things, and so on. Now we've done a cobot. It's from ABB with 2 arms, and it's moving around in the factory. It's much more dynamic, so we're replacing the humans with cobots instead. We've done the first one in Sweden. So we think there's a lot of things to do with technological development. There are a lot of things, mega trends in healthcare, growth in population, people getting more old, and so on. So there are a lot of things that we're really good positioned to help the customers with that. And why are we interesting? Well, first of all, we have a lot of experience. We have done almost 5,000 different products. Either we have had the whole responsibility or just a few consultants at the customer premises. And we have a lot of experience digitalization the industry. So we understand the customers' true business needs, their language, their problems, and so on, and how to transform that to a technical solution. And we like to think that we're the best in 2 worlds. We are fairly small, almost 600 people. That means that we're fast, we're agile, we're very close to the customers, both by heart and also by geography. And each customer is really important for us. At the same time, we're stable, we've been around for a long time, we are noted, we're a public company, and so on. So the customer can view us as a small and big at the same time. And as mentioned before, we understand the whole life cycle of a development cycle. And we also understand different aspects of this. We're working with mechanics, electronics, and software, and how those interact with each other. And it's fairly complex, and we understand the whole aspect of a development chain. And we have that in-house as well. And we like to view as not just consultants selling hours. We're building infrastructure all along. We have workshops, we have laboratories, frameworks, and so on. So we have a lot of values that we can bring to the customer, not starting from scratch in every project, and we're building that all along. And we think we're nice to work with as well. Some financial background, and this is all the numbers you will get in this presentation. Or you're more interested, you can read the annual report and so on. Diplomatic world is fairly stable. We have been losing money, gaining some, losing some, gaining some, losing some for the past 10 years. And I was a little bit curious, how is that possible in this extreme business climate, losing money as a consultancy firm? And that's why I took the job in the first place. So it's quite obvious that we can't continue doing what we've done, but we shouldn't just throw everything away, so it's about changing the direction a little bit. So we have a change program aiming at 8 to 10% margin. And I would like to explain a few of the elements in that program. And the first one, maybe it's a circular reference, but it's focus on profit, to really have that focus here and now. And the key word here is decentralize. So we have decentralized the company, distributing the responsibility for profit and loss, and really adhering to that. We have changed the organization. We were a matrix organization before. It was much too complex for a small company as ours. So now it's more simple organization. We have decreased overhead and some costs as well. And for you who know the consultancy business, turning a few of those knobs, turning utilization, hourly price, the cost, the overhead, then it's a fairly okay profit, about 5% or something like that. But it's not enough. It's not enough for gaining 10% and gaining more in the future. So we're doing more things. And this is actually a word. You can Google it. We are dynamicizing Prevas, and it's about making us more dynamic. We are small, and we should use that as an advantage. So we have slimlined the processes, we have simplified the structure, and so on, and also about decentralizing a lot of things. Much simpler management process and a new sales process, being more adaptive and more on the toes together with the customers. And we're also more trying to be more visible at the market. Being at Prevas for about 1 year, it's a fantastic company. We're working with really complex technology in the front line, doing good things, saving lives, working with Medicare and so on. So we have a fantastic opportunity to show that for being more attractive for recruitment candidates and selling more as well. And the last one, looking more further on in the future to have a more active business development. And this is also about decentralizing that strategy. And we have a lot of strengths, as I mentioned before. So build on those strengths, not only reducing the cost, but also have an opportunity for the future to build on the strengths that we have. And adding more value. I know it's a buzzword, but it's important as a consultancy firm to understand the market position and how we should utilize that and improve it bit by bit to being attractive, come earlier in the phases at the customer development cycle, and also adding more value than just hours. We're working with partnerships, product partners as well, to have some leverage and also not starting from scratch. We're trying some new offerings as well. We're working with user experiences, for example. Also in the industry, there's a demand of good user experience. So we have started a new department focus on that. We are starting new departments focus on quality aspects in medical development and life science as well, and it's growing a lot with good hourly prices. So this is the change program, focus on a few aspects of that, increasing the profit, making us more dynamic, and developing the business. And this change program, it's you're not turning around a company in a quarter, so it's a long-term program lasting several years. As we have a long-term view, there will be bumps on the road, but we have a few indicators that we are on the right path. Since the first quarter this year, it was the best quarter in 28 quarters, about 7 years. And the second quarter this year was double the profit compared to last year. So it's not proof, but it's indicators that we're on the right path. And that was the last picture. So it's a brief presentation of myself, Prevas, and our change program.
Yeah. Thank you, Johan, for the presentation. I noticed that relative to other consultancy firms, you have performed quite well on top line in 2019. Others have struggled. What are the main reasons, in your opinion, to this?
I think it's a good question. I think we have focused on both selling hours, but also materials, selling robots. We're buying robots from ABB, for example, and selling that to the customers. So we can increase the revenue by having more materials as well on top of the hours. And we have a strong sales focus. We have a sales training program going on, and so on as well.
But haven't you seen any trends that the customers are more cautious now in this market?
Yeah, in some cases, but I think we're a little bit lucky since we're working with medtech, for example. It's not following the same cycle. We're working with defense. It's not following the same cycle. And actually, when we're working with the manufacturing industry, we haven't seen a lot of the downturn yet. And maybe I'm naive, but I think they will need digitalization also in the downturn. Sure, there will be some price pressure, but they need to be much more effective and efficient in their business. So I think we have a good position to actually gain market in the downturn.
Okay, so it's more about your sector exposure than rather grabbing market share where you're at?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
You also mentioned that you want to be more than just consultants. How much of your business is project related versus more maintenance related?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have the exact numbers, but I think maybe 40-50% is projects, and some of that is maintenance, and the other is resources or consultant services at the customer premises. So half.
Okay. And you mentioned also that you had other revenue streams like products.
Yeah, we have a few products actually, and that's a little bit uncommon for consultancy firm. But we have good experiences with working with products and combining that with consultancy services. We have a really good edge when we have a small product. It's not packaged as a traditional product, but it's more a framework that we can reuse, and that is really interesting. And we're also selling software as a service. We won a new assignment lately in that area, and that's a way to build software and reuse it for new customers later on. So it's interesting to try to do that.
Are you satisfied with the current mix of revenues, or do you like part of the change program? Is it also to change the revenue streams?
Yeah, I think in the long term we would like to increase the part of revenue from projects and semi-products and frameworks and so on. So increasing that is a way to gain a higher margin in top of the hours.
Okay. It also seems like your change program has started well, as you showed. It's a long-time project, I know, but what is the current status and what are the next steps?
I think we have achieved an important milestone that the different regions are taking on responsibility for their own profit. So I don't have to interfere with the regions anymore, so they are self-sufficient, focusing on the profit. And now we can focus a little bit more on doing positive things, starting new departments and so on. And we will also focus a little bit more about our brand and our external visibility. So we've done most of the job turning down the costs and the overhead. So it's now more aggressive view on the future.
And you saw the historical figures here, 8 to 10% margin. Prevas has not been really close to that in a couple of years. How confident are you that you can reach that number with the current setup?
I don't see any reason why we shouldn't. So I'm confident.
Perfect. And to conclude, what will be your main focus areas during the next year here at Prevas?
I think it will be much about the brand, building the brand awareness, both working with it internally, but mostly externally to increase the visibility, to be more attractive. It's the crucial characteristics for a future company to have a really strong brand. And we're a little bit behind schedule for several years, so it's important to catch up and work with the brand. So that will be a main focus this year, I think.
You mentioned the ISO, I don't remember the exact, but the medical, the tech industry. Compared to your competitors, you said that you are maybe one of few who has it. Will you continue to build on that strength?
Yeah, we will expand that certificate and focus more on building. We have laboratories in Sundbyberg, for example, and a little bit in Uppsala and in Copenhagen, and we will expand building those, so be more even more competitive in the future in the medtech area.
Okay. By that, I would like to thank Johan for the presentation with a warm applause.
Thank you.